Okay, I think we'll get started. Welcome to the South Florida Poetry Journal SoFloPoJo's reading series. We're really happy tonight to present Dan Beachy-Quick and Ruth Dannon. We can't wait to hear from them, and we'll follow up with a Q&A session. But before we do that, I'd like to also give thanks and introduce Lenny de la Rocca, who is the founder of South Florida Poetry Journal, and Michael McNamara, who is the managing editor of South Florida Poetry Journal. And it's due to the two of them that we're here tonight, and we have a wonderful website to post the video on afterward. And we're just gonna have a great night, I can tell. So thank you again. And if you're not going to be reading or speaking at the moment, please put your microphone on mute. If not, I'll probably do it for you. And you can always unmute during the Q&A by just touching the microphone icon on the lower left part of your screen. I'll continue to let people in, and hopefully we'll have quiet entries by those who are coming in. I'll try to make that happen. So I'm going to just introduce our first speaker, and that is Dan Beachy-Quick. He's a poet, an essayist, and a translator. His work has won the Colorado Book Award in Poetry and has been longlisted for the National Book Award and supported by the Montfort, Lannan, and Guggenheim Foundation. He teaches at Colorado State University, where he's a University Distinguished Teaching Scholar. And I wanted to hold up a copy of both Dan and Ruth's books for you, but I only received Dan so far. This is his recent book, Wind, Mountain, Oak, The Poems of Sappho. Ruth's is coming from India, and so it's taking a little bit longer to get here, but I can tell you it's a beautiful cover. We were just talking about that earlier, and I'll be putting where you can buy that on Amazon in the chat. So without further ado, Dan, thank you for being here. I'm so excited. Ever since I heard that you were doing this new translation, I was excited about it. So now I'm glad to hear from you. If you want to read, talk about it, do whatever you want, and then we'll probably ask you more questions during the Q&A. But the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Judy, for inviting me, and thanks, Ruth, for the honor of reading with you, and thank all of you for showing up on Zoom. I'm going to imagine very vividly that I'm in each one of your living rooms, or all of you are in mine, and collapse a bit of distance. I think I'll probably save most of any kinds of questions about the work of translation with Sappho for the Q&A. Other than to say, my kind of, core instinct at some level is a real curiosity about getting to the roots of things as best as I'm able. And I consider myself a lyric poet, and consider Sappho the mother of that art. And I wanted to find a way to get as close to her as I knew how, and that is in these fragments and remaining words, and wanted to ask some questions about the nature of lyric poetry that seem only to be able to be asked in proximity to the source of it. And other than the translation, the only thing maybe worth knowing is I kind of abandoned the normal ways in which the poems are numbered, and instead tried to kind of create the poems so they read almost like a very fragmented Bildungsroman, a novel of the life. So we go from poems of her childhood and poems about her own mother, all the way to poems of her thinking about her own demise and the nature of her getting older. And I thought I've actually never read fully from this before, and I thought I'd read some of the earlier kinds of sections and maybe intersperse it with a couple poems I wrote during that work of translation that's really thinking a lot about translation. So this is how the opening section. And I'll just pause as it makes sense, where there's large gaps often. Bedrock. Whisper. Walk so we can see dear dawn's golden arms, harms. Soon golden sandaled dawn, queen dawn, Hesperus carrying all that day brightening dawn scatters about. You bring the sheep, you bring the goat, you bring the child back to her mother. Of all the stars, most beautiful. The stars back away and hide from the lovely moon's radiant form when her greater lamp shines its silver down on the earth. I myself in summer hours wove together flowers, a tender girl plucking the tender flowers. I think I cannot with two arms touch the sky. I don't know where I go. My mind is two minds, and longingly I long, and searchingly I search. A poem of my own called Some Consequences of the Made Thing, and the made thing here being a play on the ancient Greek word for poet, poetes, which means one who makes, one who does, and thinking about the poem very simply in a way as a made thing. The end. Above these words, the sky closes. It closes by turning white, not the white of all clouds or being within a cloud, white of wordless light. The end. Feel a silence there that reminds you of a scent. Crushed grass the hooves galloped through, or is it the binder's glue? Some silence never not real finally can be heard. Silence before the first words, precedent chaos or marrow work, or just the sound of the throat opening to speak. Like those scholars of pure water who rode through mountains and meadows to drink from each fresh spring a glass, and then with brush and ink wrote poems on the differences of sameness. You too feel yourself taste the silent page of the end and the silent page of the beginning. They taste so much of whiteness, never more white than white that's been lost. You have some sense of the book altering, page sewn secretly next to page, last page stitched to first. Oh, earth, it rolls around the solar scroll, turning nothing into years and years into nothing. At the end, you're a witness to this work that wears the witness away. And who are you anyway? Pronoun of the second person, lover, stranger, God, student, child, shade. Something similar gathers in you. Another way of saying I in a poem, of saying I in a poem that realizes at the end that I am just a distance from myself. And so are you, that same distance. Back to Sappho. Dawn. To see with what eyes? Innocence, earthly bliss for Sappho, reckless, her prayer. Prayer with no law, barely dark. What is this to me? Sweetness that grips my life? Call out to her all that is no longer held. Solemn rites, Hera, end while I still live. Artemis, Medea, that hold fast, Zeus, son of Leto and also Zeus, obey and come to your secret rites, leave behind the deep woods of Grunea for the oracle. Sing praise, sister, of Polynaxes' children, to mock the mad one is what I want. Phoebus, golden-haired, birthed by the daughter of Coeus, who lay with the son of cloudy Kronos, great named God, But Artemis swears the great oath of the gods. Yes, by your head, I swear I will stay a virgin, unwedded, among the peaks of lonely mountains hunting. Come, nod your head, promise for my sake. So she spoke, and the father of the blessed gods nodded. Virgin, shooter of deer, fond of the chase, huntress, gods and men will call you a worthy name. Let sweet limb loosening Eros never come near, fearless. Come here to me from Crete to this temple's chaste chamber. Beside the bent gracious sacred boughs of your apple grove, altars burning sweet resin, smoke of frankincense. Cold waters music flows through apple branches, roses, red cabbage, wild, cast their shadows dark on the ground, and the quivering leaves shake down, sleep deep as coma. Green meadow grass by horses grazed, spring flowers go countless as they grow, and the galling gale gently blows. There, now, you. Take with your hand, Cypress, these golden cups gracefully. Mix the nectar not with water, mix the sweet nectar into us, our happiness. Cypress or Paphos or Panormus keeps you. Aphrodite, sweet-voiced, throwing, holding, I sit, you leap, sea foam. Deep-throned, dark-carved, wood deathless Aphrodite, while weaving child of Zeus, I beg, I pray to you, don't hurt me, my thought. Let grief never seduce, queen, my shard-scared heart. But come here, if at some time ever you heard my fool's voice pour out its wine to wet the ground, then hear me again and leave your father's home, free from its gold confines, love's chariot yoked. Your beautiful sparrows struggle to bear you swift above the dark earth, dense clouds of wings wilding against the heavens through midair to bring you down suddenly here. You, I swear, blessed one, smiling, a smile on your face, never dying, asking, what do you suffer from now? And why summon me again? What want, what better thing in your craving heart do you wish to see? What now? Who must I coax back again to the agony you love? Who, Sappho, does you wrong? And if now she runs away, soon she will chase. If she refuses gifts, soon she'll bring her own. If she won't love you, soon she will be longing, and even if she doesn't want to. Come to me now again. Save my mind scathing in thought, when the war-loud din of my heart's endless desire, end it. Now grieves, not grief, you be my battle mate. If I, golden-crowned Aphrodite, could win the lot cast out from the shook helmets ringing, they gave me value, made me honored with the gifts of their hard labor. You give, Andromeda, as lovely as you take. For Sappho, the one rich in blessings, Aphrodite. Andromeda, for Sappho, I love you, Cyprus queen, and yet great for eyes, the shining sun, glory everywhere, and you in Acheron. I spoke in a dream with Cyprogenea. O dark dream, you come in sleep and leave, sweet God, but a wondrous, terrible sorrow has the force to hold apart. I have hope I won't share, never, for the blessed gods. Hope, this is not their plaything, toy. May it bloom into being, for me, everything. The gods, suddenly, without tears. A poem of my own called Efforts at Translation that more than about translating Greek is thinking about Paul Celan and his work of translation and thinking about his practice and his poems and his life. What burns becomes ash, becomes dust, becomes clouds that gather together the sea. So the clocks carry hours, and later on the bells rain down what in them rings, not time, but something that rhymes with time, like fire or ash or dust. You also speak of ash, of hair, of milk gone dark as night. Sometimes God crept beneath the hotel door in a crack of light. Sometimes not. Sometimes nothing at all. The clouds and the sky sit down on the sea. The children braid their hair before the mirror water fills up the sink. The children teach their hands to do this work. Later, each teaches her hands how to fall asleep. Sometimes at night, sometimes not. Sometimes at noon or later, in the dark, inside the dark. In the night, the lidless stone eye alone can see, the gray stone behind the eye that never becomes the world falling endlessly into it, the gray zone not made of stone, but of stoniness, where nouns drift into adjectives. And what remains is a powder that whitens the face from within, some dust within the face, time and ash, and the old milk that nursed their bones. You speak also, both of you speak, my daughters. What I want to hide from you hides inside you. To yourselves, stay blind, is the latest prayer. Soon enough it will grow old. Know thyself in the rubble heap, outside the ruins. Lidless eyes that mind the stone, I mean, give it a mind, that crack in the face of a god. And I'll go ahead and just close with the close of the Sappho book. He is dying, Cythera, lovely Adonis. What do we do? Strike your breasts, girls, tear apart your clothes. Oh, Adonis. Gongola, an omen for a child, mostly Hermes, arrived. I said, oh, despot, I swear by the blessed ones I've taken no pleasure being on earth, and some desire to be dead has hold of me, to see the lotus-covered, wet with dew banks of the river Acheron. Being dead in that place where there is no memory of you, where no one's longing follows after you, for you have no share in Pierian roses, but flung from us, dumb in Hades' home school, on infinite repeat, taking your lessons among the dimly seen dead. Shallow enough to cross, I might go, I might bring with me no one, Sappho, no one. Sappho, with eyes gone night dark too early, more green than grass I am, dying just a little from needing so much, so I see myself as I am myself. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was truly amazing to hear your translations and to hear your other poems that you've written yourself interspersed in between. It was perfect. I really loved that.